For once, things seem well for Rick Grimes in the world of The Walking Dead, but can they stay that way? Is there an opportunity to continue the CRM storyline and to explore and expand on some of the things introduced in Season 1 of The Ones Who Live, or was this really it for that storyline? Now, Scott Gimple, Andrew Lincoln, and Denai Guerrera have all expressed interest in wanting many of the main TWD characters to breathe the same air again, but what exactly would that even look like? They did a great job in telling a complete, cohesive story in The Ones Who Live, but is that really all there is to the CRM storyline? Because I gotta tell you, I think there's more to be told there. Will we never see Rick reunite with Daryl and Carol and Morgan and Negan and Maggie and Aaron and many of the other Walking Dead cast members? I think that if we don't, there is a major missed opportunity there, and hopefully we get some type of crossover event in the near future. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Let's Talk Movies. I'm Brad, and here are just a couple of ways that Rick Grimes' story could continue within the greater Walking Dead universe. The Season 1 finale of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, found a reunited and reignited Rick and Michonne taking on the CRM once and for all after realizing the extent of what was included in the Echelon briefing. We learned that Beale's master plan was to exterminate the Portland colony before marching across North America and wiping out pretty much any community in their path in an effort to hoard resources. Obviously, Rick and Michonne were not on board with this, and in sticking with what Carl would want in building a better world where people are working together and uniting, they didn't put up with that crap. Rick and Michonne acted quickly to stop the CRM from executing the Echelon plan. After doing so, Rick and Michonne were finally reunited with Judith and RJ back home. Now, looking forward, there are a combination of three things that I think you could use or interchange with each other to continue the story that was set up in The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. And in a perfect world, this would act as a major Walking Dead universe crossover event taking place after the events of Dead City and the second season of Daryl Dixon. Reunite all of those characters, make this a really, really big storyline that involves everybody, all the different communities, make it set in different places, make this a really, really big finale for the Walking Dead universe as a whole. Number one, we know from Beale's Echelon briefing that the CRM is aware of walker hordes in the millions. We saw a rather big one in episode 2 of The Ones Who Live when Nat, Bailey, and Aiden find Michonne to help her escape from one. Now, in this universe, we know that walkers are drawn by sound, and a group of them that big would just continue to draw more and more and more walkers to it. I mean, look at the Rock Quarry sequence from Season 6 or Alpha's Horde from Seasons 9 and 10. I mean, it's not impossible to believe that there are massive hordes of millions of walkers that have been drawn together by sound that are just kind of aimlessly making their way across the continent in a herd. Even if you wanted to leave the CRM storyline behind, you could still use this as a way to continue the story. I mean, could you imagine our characters having to find a way to fight off millions of walkers to defend the different communities and having to band together in order to do that? I mean, that would be an incredible battle. That would be something that we have never seen before in this show. Not that many. I mean, we've seen some pretty big hordes, but millions? That would be unbelievable. I mean, that would be like apocalyptic in the apocalypse. That would be an absolutely incredible thing to see on screen. Number two, Beale also explained to Rick that the CRM planted spies in many different communities across the globe to act as informants. We can assume that there were spies in Omaha and at the campus colony as well as in Portland, but are there spies in the Commonwealth? What about in Alexandria, in Maggie's colonies, in New York City? Where are these spies and what are they still doing now? I mean, if they're still there, would these people still believe in Beale's mission to destroy all other communities and hoard their resources? Were they just there doing a job? I mean, like, what exactly would these spies do now that Beale is gone and the mission of the CRM has changed? I feel like there's a pretty cool espionage story to be told there, especially if the third piece of this puzzle is true. Now, I know that this is a long shot and Miguel disagrees with me, but just think about it for a minute. We didn't actually see Thorne die. Michonne stabbed her, and she was surrounded by walkers in the chlorine gas, but the gas was dissipating, as we know, because Michonne said that. Thorne was a very skilled fighter, a very skilled soldier, a very determined soldier. I don't think it's impossible to believe that she somehow survived that situation and escaped. I mean, she even told Michonne that Rick was the only family that she had left. She saw him as family, so for him to then turn around and double cross her like that, she's obviously going to feel betrayed. 100% she's going to want some kind of revenge if she's still alive. And also, let's be honest with ourselves, she really drank the Kool-Aid. I mean, even after Okafor trying to reach out to her and Rick and make them kind of change the CRM from the inside out. I mean, in that last episode, she flat out said to Rick, Okafor was wrong. She believes in the echelon briefing and the plan and what Beale was trying to do. And Rick took that away from her. Rick took that possibility away from her. So obviously, I think if she is still alive, she's going to want to carry out the echelon plan in some form or another. Now, if there really are CRM spies planted in all of the other communities and they've infiltrated all of these other communities in North America and the globe, and those people somehow connected with Thorne could almost lead a resistance to the resistance, if you would. It sounds super Star Warsy, but that could be a really, really cool way to kind of include this. You could do kind of a cross between that and the millions of walkers thing. I mean, there's many different ways that you could do a continuation, or they might just be like, hey, we have this other story we want to do as a crossover event to bring back Daryl and Carol and Rick and Michonne and Aaron and Gabriel and all of these other characters, Negan and Maggie, so I don't know. There are many different options there, but I do hope that we see some type of reunion for all of our main characters. I think that's really important to the Walking Dead story. I think that's really, really important to Walking Dead fans. And me being a fan from day one, watching the pilot the day The Walking Dead aired, when Days Gone By aired, I don't think I will ever feel complete until we get that type of reunion. But, as always, I want to hear your thoughts, so please leave me a comment down below. How do you see Rick Grimes' story continuing, if it continues at all? Was that a satisfying ending, Rick returning to Alexandria with Michonne, meeting RJ, reconnecting with Judith? Was that satisfactory for you, or do you want to see more? Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to leave this one a like, and you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at LTM Podcast KY. We've got 3 shows here on the channel: the Let's Talk Movies podcast, Purely and Simply Evil, and Classics Revisited, where we watch classic films with you live on the show. On Purely and Simply Evil, we take deep dives into horror classics, and the Let's Talk Movies podcast, we talk about pretty much whatever we want to talk about. So, guys, thank you so much for joining. Have a good one, and we will talk to you soon. Peace.